Steve, since you are our honored guest, I will let you go first. What did you think of the Michael movie?
Well, let me before I start. I seen you and Katie's out of theater review. I
Yes.
enjoyed your review,
Yes.
and I seen it. You remember, like we talked about this. My
Yes.
intention was to see this a lot earlier. I
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to see it a lot earlier. I had a chance to see it in Gary, like an advanced screening, and could make it. And then my schedule that first week out just kept getting. I didn't really get to see it till the Saturday after the Friday release, and so I try to tune everybody. I try to tune everything out. I really do. That's why I try to see these movies as early as possible because I really want to tune everything out. I had sort of some of the things that I figured that the movie was going to go already in my head, and I was trying to tune that out going into the movie. And so it's I really try to see these movies as early as possible. Um, I knew before I went to it. I was like, I bet you, I'm telling you, this is a movie where the audience is gonna feel very different from the critics. I just knew it. I knew it. I'm like, this is gonna be a movie where it's just gonna be different. I heard some, I seen and read some of the early reviews, and I said, yeah, this is gonna be one of the movies where the critics might go one way, the audience might go the other way. And I'm somebody that I could be both. I could go in there as an audience, or I can go in there with full critic hat on. And so when I went in and finally got to see it, um, I watched it and I left the theater after watching the movie, um, feeling I was excited. It was about what I thought it would be. It was a nice celebration of life. I thought that the movie definitely. I was excited throughout the movie. It wasn't really a boring. It was a fast paced 2 hour movie, and I was aware there was only so much they could do with that 2 hour window. With someone that lives such a captivating life, it's very difficult to do that. The movie ended about where I thought it would end. I think that's where we predicted that it would end around bad, and that's exactly what it did. Um, and these are things that I'm sure you've heard every critic say. I think Jafar did a really good job of making us feel like he was Michael Jackson. Because a good point, there's good pieces in that film. I thought he nailed it. Definitely the voice, the look. I felt like I was looking at Michael Jackson. It was definitely great casting to put him in it as that role because he nailed it. Um, I thought Coleman Domingo was a strong casting. He was a strong voice in the movie. I'm going to get into some of the issues I have with him in a moment. Um, but that was about it. Where I thought the casting strengths were. I thought the movie did a really good job of making you think the actors were those people. Lorenz Tate looked just like Barry Gordy. The actor that played Quincy Jones escaping me at the moment. He looked like Quincy Jones. They did a really good job. Nia Long looked like middle-aged Catherine Jackson. They nailed that part, right? They really did. And so you did feel that way. I thought the music and the music videos, for the exception of Thriller, the Thriller one was a little weird to me, but Beat It was perfect. Beat It was perfect.
Agreed. Agreed.
Perfect. Like I loved it. And it wasn't just Michael. It was it was like the character, the main dancers behind him, like the one that had that white jumpsuit on. He
Look
looked
just like
just
the dude.
he looked just like him. Like I went with my daughter and I just started like that dude looks just like him. And so they nailed that part. Um as he go into the bad concert, that last the closing part of the movie, they nailed that part. They nailed the Motown 25th anniversary. That was absolutely amazing. Um, and and that alone right there made the movie worth watching. And that's where I think that I understand why the audience is just raving about the movie because it's an exciting movie. I left there like, man, that was really really good. Now I want to explain where the critic in me had some
Sure.
issues with the movie.
Sure. Sure.
The first problem I felt like was I thought the movie, it's hard to it's going to be difficult to in a 2 hour movie, and I know they're going to probably do a sequel, and I know a good portion of that third act they had to remove, right? And so I know they're going to probably do something else. It's making a lot of money. It's on pace to make $1 billion, so I know they're going to probably do something else. Um, but I don't think I would have. I don't even think I would have focused on his childhood very much, because I think you have to rush through that so quick, and I mean they rushed through it
They did.
because
They
the
did.
transitions from it was like, okay, we're in 1979, we're in
Right.
1984. It was like they transitioned through that quickly. I think even younger Michael Jackson fans know that story. If you're in your 30s, 40s, you watch the Jacksons an American Dream. That you know the childhood Gary to Motown story. I think I would have taken it from like the beginning of the like 1979, as he's preparing for Off the Wall and going into that peak of success going into Thriller. And you ended in that bad, like right before bad, like they did. But I would have started it like right before Off the Wall and ended it like right before bad. And I would have focused that 2 hour window on that instead of rushing through his childhood and kind of just getting through some things and doing that. The next issue I had was the characters weren't nuanced at all. And that was something that triggered me.
That
I
was something that
feared,
we both talked about that we
yes,
wanted.
yes, I feared when they were casting Coleman Domingo, love him, that they were going to go hard, and I mean real hard, on making Joe Jackson this antagonist character, this antagonistic character, right? He had to be the villain in the movie. And in doing that, I thought I'm trying to use my words nicely, but I thought they made Joe Jackson into a toilet seat.
Yep.
Like they just like there was no nuance in there.
Yep.
And we can get into that, like, Joe, yeah, he had his faults, but I explain him as a character. I mean, explain him as a person. Who was Joe? Yeah, a manager, and maybe as the Michael Jackson's manager, as the group's manager, he made mistakes. He was too hard on him, but he was still a father that cared. I didn't see that at all in this movie. Um, and then Michael was just like angelic throughout the movie. Angelic, and I don't want. They didn't need to go into like the tabloid stuff that was starting to pop up in the 80s about Michael Jackson. I don't think they need to do that. But who was he as a person? Because what happened in the movie, you're just telling me things that either if you're in your 60s, you clearly experienced. Even if you're in your 30s and 40s, like we are, you knew about. Like these things were this is Michael Jackson. All these things are well detailed. We know he got his hair burned. We know he bought a monkey. We know this. My daughter is 7 years old. She knows he had a monkey. Like these are some of the things that we know about Michael Jackson. What don't I know about Michael Jackson?
Right.
We know he liked affirmations. They kind of got into that. He would write notes to himself and stick it on the wall. He had some self-confidence issues. That's a story. Explain more of that. How can the biggest star in the world doubt themselves so much?
Yes, and
That's a story.
not just because his dad was abusive toward him. Like,
Exactly.
yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
How can somebody that women were screaming all over the world that loved them, but when he looked in the mirror, sometimes didn't see that? That's a story.
Yes.
Explain that more.
Yes. Yes.
So I wanted to see. I love the retelling, and that in itself is enough to get you in the theater, and it's worth the watch. If you're watching this right now, go see it. If you haven't seen it already, it's worth it because of that. But I didn't get the story. And so a biopic like this is not this wasn't Ray to me. This wasn't I did this wasn't Ray, this wasn't Rocket Man, the Elton John story. This is wasn't the one like the Queen movie they did on Queen. That one's Freddie
Bohemian
Mercury. That was
Rhapsody.
Bohemian, right, exactly. Bohemian Rhapsody. It wasn't on that level. While I thought it was just as exciting, to me, it lacked storytelling. It lacked the transitions were too much. I thought, with the exception of Coleman Domingo, who played the role he was that was written for him, I thought he did a good job for this. I don't want to take anything away from him. He played that role of being like the evil antagonist character, although it got to the point where it felt very 90s cartoon villain. I'm sorry, it started to get to that point. um i thought I thought Jafar Jackson did an amazing job as Michael, at least the look of it. But I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more acting. I wanted to see more of who Michael was at that time, because like all of us, we go through periods in our life where we change. What was
Mm-hmm.
Michael? What was he like at that point in time?
You know
I
what?
didn't get that.
One thing that I could say with that too is that I I was wondering what Latoya's purpose was in the movie. And I
Yes.
think that they could have used her to be that person. So just and they did it a little bit. They did it a little bit, but not enough. They could have used her as more of a sounding board for Michael. And
Hmm.
like as his way of speaking to the audience would be him talking to her and him having
Hmm.
conversations with her and like just saying what you literally just said. Like, I have thousands of women, looking at me and they love me and I have all these people who care about me, but when I look in the mirror I hate myself. Like, they literally could have done that and it would have said so much. You could have accomplished, you could have knocked that off. You could have checked that box and could have had that done. And just build a scene around that and her trying to, maybe trying to lift him up and him still doubting himself, and even, maybe even getting angry,
Hmm.
with himself, uh, to that point. And I don't think that takes much time. The scene where they were in his bedroom and they were like sitting on the floor, you could have
Yeah.
done that right
Yes.
there. You could have had that
Yes.
sort of heart to heart right there and accomplished a lot. um
Yeah. Yes.
and
Exactly.
I yeah
Exactly. But
yeah
then I
yeah
think it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think during that thing, like Joe just comes in and just tell the Latoya, get up out of here, get up out of
right
here, Latoya. Like
yep yep
it
yep
was a missed opportunity to me. I
yep
think you nailed it. You could have did a lot with Latoya. We know during that period of time, like you're saying, and I know Janet didn't. She didn't. She agreed not to be part of the movie.
right
But we know at this point in time that his relationship, his connection with his brothers, because at this point they're all married and moving out,
mm-hmm
his connection with the brothers started to fade. His connection with the two sisters, Latoya and Janet, grew.
mm-hmm
And so that's something that we could tap into. And it wasn't there because it
mm-hmm
wasn't, I don't think they were trying to give a story. It was just
mm-hmm
sort of like retelling events that
right
most
it was
casual Michael Jackson fans know.
right. Is there anything else before I jump in and start
No, go,
talking
go.
more?
No, I talked
Um,
along. Go.
no, that was good. That
Go.
was great, bro. That was great. One thing that I can say, sort of piggybacking on that and everything that you said, I completely agree with. Shocker. Me and you see eye to eye on almost everything when it comes to entertainment, sports, all of this type of stuff. But
Hmm.
um, just watching the movie, it felt like the TikTok version of Michael Jackson's life. Like
Yes.
this was the Wikipedia opening paragraph of Michael Jackson's life, where you have
Hmm.
12 sentences to explain everything, and
Hmm.
that's all you got. And
Hmm.
that was the one thing that, that was one of the things that made me not like the movie as much. Like you said, going into this movie, I was beyond excited for it. I saw a few of the critical reviews come out, and I didn't read them. I just like looked at the headlines. I'm like, oh, okay, people don't really like it, or I should say, the reviewers don't really like it. Not a shocker, not a shocker, because they're there to judge movies, not to judge not to be a fan of the person who the movie is about. I
Right.
think all of us, our fans. If you went there to go watch that movie that opening weekend, going this weekend, obviously you're a big fan of him. Like nobody's gonna go there not being a fan of Michael Jackson. So the movie sold us already. It's sort of like what you have when you do the Marvel content that we watch all the time. It's we're not the we shouldn't be the target audience necessarily. We shouldn't, because you already got us. We're gonna go see it regardless. If this movie would have been
Right.
trash, and obviously the reviews came out and they were trash, and people still flocked to go see it. So, um, I in my fan eye, I enjoyed the movie.
Hmm.
It was like, it's like Michael Jackson's greatest hits, like,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
you went and checked each box. It was Thriller there, yes. Was Beat It there, yes. Was his Jackson 5 days there, yes. Was Joe Jackson abusive, yes. Was Catherine Jackson a saint, yes. Like it was all the questions and answers that we already knew. I think it lacked depth where
Hmm.
we wanted more. Just like you said, I know this story.
Hmm.
This, to me, this is for someone who is 22 years old
Hmm.
and lived under a rock and still doesn't know anything about Michael Jackson. All they know is the memes and the TikToks that they've seen. So
Yeah.
this is good for them because they probably didn't know that Michael had an abusive father. They probably didn't know that he was an artist even when he was younger. So this was good for them. But it could have lacked, or it could have gave us hardcore fans a little bit more of what we wanted. The music video aspect of it hit, like those things were beat for beat, note for note.
Oh yeah.
It was perfection as far as that's concerned.
They nailed
Jafar's
that.
performance was amazing,
Hmm.
amazing. Like there were
Hmm.
times where I looked at it and I could not tell the difference between him and Michael. Like I was so absorbed into his performance and his look and his voice and his acting that I was like, that's Michael. And that is all you can ask for as far as that type of performance is concerned. There was nothing in that made it stick out like, oh, I don't know, I don't think he's doing it right here. There
Right.
were a lot of times where I looked at him like in the teen years where I was like, oh, that's Jermaine, like
Yeah. I did too.
like
I wasn't
not
going to
really
say this.
Michael, but that's Jermaine.
That was my only issue with it. That was my only issue with it. And it's
Yeah.
like if I didn't know that, if I didn't know any, we didn't know Jermaine at Jackson at
Hmm.
all. I would my mind would have went there because I
Yep.
know Jermaine. It was a lot
Yep.
of times, like you said, especially I guess that would have been like 79, 80. They were diving in the
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
It's like that's Jermaine Jackson.
Yes. 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 Like he's looking just like his dad. Like you
Like let's
couldn't you
get
couldn't.
serious. That's what I was thinking. Like,
Yep.
like
Yep. You
yeah, I
couldn't.
was with you on that.
Yeah, you couldn't play that part off. But
Right.
um the greatest hits aspect of the movie was there. Like you said, I throughout the movie enjoyed it, but I didn't really feel it until the very end in the bad performance. And
Yeah.
like him walking down that hallway with the black and the
Yes.
buckles on and
Yeah.
all that, and the white t-shirt and the jacket and the hair,
Right.
and he turned sideways and
Hmm.
like looked at somebody before he walked out. I was like,
Hmm.
oh my, like I'm getting kind of emotional thinking about it.
Hmm.
Like
They killed it.
that got me. That got me. I was like, oh yes, yes. And then he started doing the performance and stuff.
Mhm.
People was in the theater like singing, dancing, clapping, standing up. Like, yeah, like that was the point that really, really, really got me. That sold me. I hate that it happened at the end, but that sold me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that aspect of the movie was great, great, great. I truly enjoyed that part of the movie. As far as the things that I didn't enjoy, I'm right there with you on the portrayal of Joe Jackson. Like, come on, man, come on. We wanted something that was more nuanced and not just a one beat villain. Like literally, I have another screen that I'm gonna share real quick. I don't know how much of it you can see, but if you go on villains Wikipedia, like
Yeah.
Joe Jackson is listed on there. Like that tells you all you need to know about Joe Jackson and his portrayal. I
Hmm.
really, really, really like they could have all okay. This is I hate I hate that I watch so much TV and we watch so many movies, and I know you feel the same way. But we watch these things, and I just feel like one scene is missing. Like you can just add one scene in, and it would satisfy so many different things. You could have had a scene with Mike, or not Michael, with Joe and Catherine after the boys. This could have been when they were younger, after they finished practicing in their tiny living room.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe goes and sits, like he's yelling at him or whatever, and that's it, we're done for the night, and send them to their room. They go to their rooms sad. Catherine comes down and sits down and says, Joe, why are you so hard on these boys? And he could have went into, you could have let Coleman be Coleman and kill it and just say how much he cares about them, how he doesn't want them to be what he is, how his father did certain things to him. And yes, I'm hard on these boys, but I see the best in them. We have the best. And he could have acted his behind off, and that right there would have gave us the little bit that we need to understand why Joe did some of the things he did, and not leave it into the void, into the TikTok world that, oh, he's just a bad guy. Like, no,
Yeah.
because I know that nuance had to be there. I know that deep down inside, he did care. And it probably wasn't deep down either. Like, it was there. There's no way that, he was doing all this stuff and training them and working with them if somewhere in there he didn't really deeply truly care. And they could have just given us that. Just get one scene and let Coleman kill it. And then it would have been done. Like these, I always, like I said, we watch so much TV and movies, bro. Like this stuff isn't that hard. It isn't that hard. I feel like you give Coleman 3 minutes, and just let him talk. And that 3 minutes would have given us everything we needed to know about Joe Jackson, his motivations. And yes, he is a flawed character, but he is not a one-note character like what we were given in that movie.
Absolutely.
Catherine, I thought Nia Long's portrayal of Catherine was great. I know that she was Michael's shining star. And we got that scene with Michael and Catherine sitting at the kitchen table where she was talking to him and she started like giving him his mantras and all that stuff. We got the scene where Michael was sitting there eating ice cream with Catherine. Like, we got that character development between them. There needed to be more with Coleman. There needed to be more with Joe. And you can't tell me that it never happened. You can't tell me that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I felt was good. We totally nailed, or I should say that I felt wasn't good. We totally nailed where the movie was going to end. Like, we knew that it was going to end right at that bad era. I, for one, felt the movie's length was about perfect. I think that you got it felt good. It didn't feel like it was short. It didn't feel like it was long. The beginning parts with the Jackson 5 era and the early part, like you said, they blew past that. Like, they blew past that stuff. Like, I would have loved to have seen a scene where the boys are in school and how Michael was when he interacted with kids his own age. Like, show that he was shy then, show that he got teased then, and it wasn't just his dad calling him big nose. Like, you could have given us so much, and like, these things don't take much time. It just takes the foresight and the thought to know that you need to add nuance to these characters. So like, yeah, man, like I know we're after the fact. I totally understand that. We coming in after the fact, but I feel like there's so much that you can do. And I would love if somebody would let me view these movies ahead of time and then give these directors some feedback and let them know what they can do to just round out their movie. Because not to say that this was a bad movie, I really enjoyed it, but it could have been rounded out and more of a full-featured, full-fledged movie. And this is why on Rotten Tomatoes, as you can see on here, it has a 38% tomato meter and a 97% popcorn meter. Because yes, it's a movie's movie, but it's not a good film.
Right.
It's not a good film.